What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and happy Halloween. It is not Halloween when I'm recording this, but when you're watching it, hopefully it is, because it is October 19th currently, because this video is going to take a long time. I'm going to be ranking 31 zombie movies today. Yes, 31 zombie movies. 31 of the most iconic, classic zombie/infection movies. This is actually not a concept that I have come up with. This 31 on 31 is something created by Cody Leach and the Odd Top stream. So all of these fine gentlemen on screen, go watch their videos. This is not a concept I created. I'm just going to be talking about the same films that they are. They do this every single year, and I watched them because I was actually planning on watching their videos. They're 31 on 31. So I wanted to do my own video because I figured if I'm going to watch all 31 of these movies, may as well rank them myself. So here you go with this 31 zombie film ranking. My list will not be the same as any of theirs. Go check out their videos and maybe do your own if you really want. But as I said, we're going to be going through 31 of the most iconic zombie movies, but we can't fit every single film on the list. So if your favorite zombie movie isn't on here, don't get mad at me, because as I said, this isn't my concept. So all these movies were picked by somebody else. So you can't get mad at me because Shaun of the Dead isn't on here. Because I agree, it is one of the most iconic zombie movies, but like I said, I didn't pick the list. I'm just ranking them. So let's get into it. Starting off with dead last, number 31. We are going with Pet Sematary 2. I was fairly sure from the minute I saw this movie that this was going to be my last place. It was actually the last movie I watched for this 31 on 31, the last movie of all 30, because I had seen about half of the list, but the other half I hadn't seen. And I had seen the original Pet Sematary, so I was expecting that movie, but again, this movie is not bad. I'll be honest, I have fun with Clancy Brown's insane performance. It's fun to see Mr. Krabs go off insane and kill people. So, you get that in this movie. But also, that's about it. That's about all I have fun with in this movie. It's just, it doesn't take anything seriously. There is literally a scene in this movie where a dog is shot and is dying in his kid's arms. And they decide that this is the music they should play. How are you going to take that scene seriously? How are you going to take that seriously? You can't. And then there's also scenes where Clancy Brown as a zombie sexually assaults his girlfriend and then murders her and her son. And the movie just is sorry, this movie is basically a comedy, and you threw in a sexual assault scene halfway through? That's gonna ruin it. That's gonna ruin it. And then by the time you reach the end of the movie, it is full-on comedy. There is just insane stuff happening that makes zero sense.
I'm melting.
And genuinely confused me for almost the entire... I had to sit there for 10 minutes after and be like, so, wait, what? Number 30, this was not much of a competition either. There's only really 2 films on this entire 31 that I was like, yeah, those are pretty bad. The rest of them I at least have some enjoyment with. But number 30 is going to be Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I am one of the people that loves the original Return of the Living Dead. I love the punk rock 80s feel of just a insane, sexy, dangerous zombie movie. This movie is not that at all. It literally takes away all the fun. It makes it just the exact same movie as the original. The exact same movie as the original, down to the fact that they bring back some of the characters that die, and then those characters suffer the exact same fate. And they're like, oh, why do I feel like I've been here before? Wink, wink. That's just lazy, okay? You can't just write it off with a joke, okay? It's lazy. It's lazy. You just gotta, you can't just do the exact same thing and be like, oh, wink, wink, wink. No, that's not how it works. You gotta do something new. And like I said, they take away all the fun of the first movie, because the first movie, it felt dangerous. It felt like just super 80s and punk rock and just super fun. And this movie, you get literally like a Goonies style kid subplot in here where a kid is fighting with his bully, and then the bully ends up getting killed and turned into a zombie. And I get that that's kind of fun, but to have like a young kid side of the story in this movie that's supposed to be super dangerous and sexy and stuff like that just really threw me off. Like it kind of reminded me of the kid stuff in the Lost Boys. Like the Lost Boys is this super sexy vampire movie, and the kid stuff kind of ruins it. Like I love the Lost Boys, but like I said, the kid stuff ruins it, and they do the same thing in this one. So it just ended up feeling like a lifeless sequel that was trying to cash in on a classic franchise, because it literally takes all the fun out of it. Number 29, I'm going to go with The Crazies, the 70s version, not the remake. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. But we are already at movies that I decently have some enjoyment with. I don't think this is a good movie, and I don't think it's a classic, but I do have a little bit of fun with it. I think it's decent. I think the characters are pretty good. I think there was some good moments. It's especially weird to watch during like after COVID, because it's just kind of like a look at what would have happened if COVID was worse. So, it's just kind of like a movie that's, you can't trust the government, and they're trying to kill everybody, and it's just another one of those movies. So, George Romero has made some very good movies, and some very good movies that are on this list. So, we'll talk about those ones later, but this one I just didn't. I just thought it was boring. I just thought it was a boring, bland movie. But like I said, there's a couple things I like, so, yeah. At number 29, for very similar reasons, it's another just boring, bland movie. We have Zombie, or Zombie Flesh Eaters, or Zombie 2, or City of the Living Dead, or Voodoo, or New York Under the Terror of Zombies, or I'm not even gonna try with that one. Why does this movie have so many different titles? That's about the most interesting part of this movie, because it is just the most basic, prototypical zombie movie plot, but it has a very good setting. It's on like a tropical island. So besides that, it's just another zombie movie. Like, it's literally called Zombie. You don't expect much from it. You don't get much from it. It doesn't do really anything new. It has some good practical effects, some good gore. And like I said, I like the setting, but besides the fact that it has about 400 different titles you can call it, there's just nothing. Number 27 is going to be my first hot take of the video. I could see some people getting very pissed off on this one, but I have to be honest. I really don't like Zombieland.
Beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't know what it is about this movie that I just don't like it at all. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny. If I thought it was funny, I'm sure I would like it a lot more than I do, but it's just not. And I think it comes down to the fact that I just don't think Jesse Eisenberg is very funny. Sorry. Like, all the different things with, like, the rules, none of it landed for me. I like the Twinkies gag, and the Bill Murray scene is decent, but otherwise, I literally didn't find any of this movie funny. And I usually love Woody Harrelson, and I usually love Emma Stone, but in this movie, I didn't think anybody was funny. None of the jokes landed for me. I just thought it was stupid. I know this is one of the most beloved zombie movies ever, but I just didn't like it. And I know that people are going to be pissed off that I have it this low, but I have to be honest when I say it wasn't funny for me. I like the end setting at the carnival. It has some good gore. And like I said, it has actors I like. But other than those, I'm sorry, this one just didn't work for me. Number 26, this is a weird one, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect from this movie, but number 26, The Serpent and the Rainbow. This movie is actually directed by Wes Craven and stars Bill Pullman. I did not know that this movie even existed before I saw the list of movies that I was going to be watching. But yeah, it's weird. I enjoyed it, but it's weird. It's unique. It's unique. And besides the fact that it's so unique, it is a little bit boring, I'll be honest. It's just a movie that's unique. It does some new things. I like that it kind of introduces the way that zombies have come about with like a ritual and like a potion, and that's all cool, but the plot is where it's lacking. I just didn't find the story to be very interesting. I didn't really invest myself in the characters at all. I thought it was creative. I enjoyed parts of it, but the plot was where it was seriously lacking on this one. Coming in at number 25, I'm going to go with Quarantine. And here's the thing with Quarantine. I'm never going to watch this movie again for the rest of my life. Do you know why? Because I'm just going to watch Wreck. Now, you guys might know something about me. I hate shot-for-shot remakes. I think they are the most boring, pathetic, lazy excuses for a movie. Because it's a remake of a movie, but they don't change the script, they don't change anything. This is technically not a shot-for-shot remake of Wreck, but it basically is. Like, I just can't invest myself in a movie where I already know every beat of the plot, every character decision, every scary moment. I just don't care, because I'm just going to watch the original. The original. Because it's the original. I don't want to watch a remake that isn't the original, because I can just watch the original. And the only reason I would ever suggest you watch this movie is if you don't like watching movies with subtitles, because, spoiler alert, Wreck is in Spanish, so you would have to watch it with subtitles on. And if you don't want to read your movies, I get it. Some people don't like foreign movies, I get it, but I personally don't care. Then watch this one, because it's just the exact same movie, so I guess technically it's a good movie, but also I'm never going to watch it again, so I feel like I don't have to put it very high on the list, because it's just an American remake of a good foreign movie. It's the exact same thing. I'm just going to watch the original. Like, I keep saying it, but that's the reason it's this low, because technically it is a good movie, but also technically Psycho 1998 is a good movie, because the original Psycho is a good movie. So number 24, I'm not quite sure if this one's controversial or not, but I'm going to go with Army of the Dead. Now, this one I went into expecting a lot more than I actually got out of it. I was going in with maybe a little bit too high expectations. I was like, okay, a 2.5-hour zombie movie directed by Zack Snyder, this could be good. And you feel that runtime, dude. 2.5 hours is way too long. You could cut a half hour out of this movie and nobody would even know. So I think the pacing is a bit off. It's a Netflix movie, so I mean, kind of have a little bit lower expectations for it, but still, I expected a little bit more. I think Zack Snyder is the best part of this movie. His direction is very good. And I really, really like the zombie tiger, but I felt like all of the characters were so boring and stereotypical that it just didn't really matter. And the story was so predictable. I could tell you every beat of this movie. And it's just, there's also like a lot of scenes where these characters get killed off in super anticlimactic ways, where it's like literally main characters or people that they go out of their way to save who just get killed in seconds, like they didn't mean anything to the plot or to anybody. So it's a zombie movie, but like it's just okay. It's just okay, and that's fine. That's fine, because we need some of those movies on this list. It's just an okay zombie movie. If you thought Zombieland at wherever it was controversial, get ready, because number 23 is by far my hottest take of the video. And I understand that a lot of people love this movie and say it's one of the best zombie movies of all time, but stick with me for a couple minutes here. Number 23 is the original Dawn of the Dead. Yes, this is my least favorite of the original Romero trilogy, and this movie, I was so excited. I was so unbelievably pumped to finally get my hands on a copy of this movie so that I could watch it. Because this has been one of the few, like, classic zombie movies that I had never gotten the chance to watch. And I heard that this is the best of the original Romero trilogy, so I was super excited to finally get this movie. And I got it on eBay for like $5. It came in the mail. I grabbed it. I opened it up. I put the disc in, and I'm sorry. I get this movie is a beloved classic, and you have every right to think that. But this movie was so slow and boring and just agonizing, and it felt like I was watching the original Friday the 13th again. Like, it just, every scene felt drawn out. I just didn't, I'm sorry. I know I'm wrong. I know. But I just thought it was super boring. And the zombies look like crap. Like, why are they blue? Do they have hyperthermia? Why are they blue?
What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
There are some incredible gory scenes, and the characters are pretty good, but they weren't super interesting. Like, they're likable, but they didn't have interesting personalities, really. Like, really, the gore is the main thing for me. I'm sorry, I know this is one of the most beloved zombie movies of all time, but for me, it's down here at number 23. Number 22, I did go with 28 Years Later. Now, I am a huge fan of the original 28 Days Later. It's one of my favorite zombies of all time. You'll see it way higher on this list. So I was super excited when they announced that they were going to do a new 28 blank Later movie, because they're all different. And I don't know quite how they're going to do a whole trilogy off of 28 Years Later, but this first movie, I liked it until I didn't. I thought there was some very good, heartbreaking scenes, some very good performances. I thought some of the characters were pretty good. Some of them I didn't really care for. I thought they leaned a little too hard into the comedy in some of these scenes. It had some very good parts, like I said, but, I mean, that ending, what is even happening? And it did also kind of feel like tacked on, because it takes place so far after the first two that it just feels like a completely unrelated movie, which isn't, you could do that well, but it just feels so different that it was kind of jarring. But I enjoyed the performances. I think there were some very good scenes. So I would say I liked this movie, but the ending and a few other things really kept me from loving it. Number 21, I think, is a hot take, but I am going to go with the original Pet Sematary. And I'll give you one thing about this movie that I really, really want to point out. It's way better than whatever this was, okay? So, you get that. It's way better than the remake. But it is not at all, in any way, shape, or form, better than the book, which unfortunately I have read before I watched this movie. So it was a huge disappointment that one of the best books I've ever read in my life, one of the most heartbreaking, depressing masterpieces, is this as a movie. So I kind of set myself up for failure with that one. I probably should have watched the movie first, because then I wouldn't have my expectations sky high and then end up with that. So there's some very good scenes in this. Obviously, spoiler alert, Gage getting hit with the truck is heartbreaking, and I think they do that very well. I think the ghost kid that's following the dad around is not handled very well, and the lady, the movie doesn't even want to acknowledge it, to the point where I literally, when I was sitting there, I was like, wait, who was that? Starting off our top 20, we have another hot take. At this point, I just don't think we can stop the hate from coming. So we do have 28 Weeks Later, which is the sequel to 28 Days Later. Now, I've heard from a lot of people that this is actually better than the original, which, okay. I would like people to actually, in the comments, if you do think it's better than the original, tell me why, because I, for the life of me, cannot see why this would be better than the original. But it's not that it's a bad movie. I think this is a decent movie. Like, for one of the reasons it doesn't work, the characters are some of the dumbest I've seen in horror since Creep. Like, they make just absolutely idiotic decisions in this, but There is a few fantastic scenes in this movie. The opening zombie action sequence I've always cited as one of my favorite zombie movie moments. I really like that scene. But also when the snipers are ordered to gun down the civilians is a horrific scene. So those two scenes I think are very, very good. Like I said, besides the really dumb scenes, there are some very good character moments, some very good characters. I I don't get how the guy is able to use the blades of a helicopter to cut up this group of zombies and not hit the ground. But despite it being completely unrealistic, it was a pretty cool scene. But otherwise, like, I liked it, but it also kind of ended weird where, like, some of the main characters get killed off super anticlimactically. Like, the main lady just gets beat to death with a sniper rifle. Like, it felt super anticlimactic. I didn't really like the ending, but overall, solid. Number 19 is the point where we reach movies that I actually enjoy. Like, I like all of these movies, and I'd say that there's still things I can say negative about them, but I enjoy all these movies. So, unfortunately, this is where Night of the Creeps landed.
The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
I love this movie, and I was very sad that I was unable to put it any higher because I think it's a pretty decent movie. I still think it's like 3 stars, 3.5 stars, but, you know, I still wanted to put it higher because I do like this movie. I really like the main characters, and I think it has some good humor and a pretty good concept. The concept's so good that James Gunn decided he was going to make a movie based off of it. But if you ask him, he's never even seen Night of the Creeps. But, the plot is very familiar. It feels very Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, maybe a little bit of zombie in there. So you get those two kind of mixed together. So it is a good mix of the two, but I will admit it is pretty samey, pretty familiar. I mean, if I were to give it complaints, I'd say, yeah, it's a bit basic and a bit unmemorable, but I do really like this movie. And I think it just came down to the fact that this was one of the last movies I watched for these 31, so I started seeing these tropes throughout the zombie movies and these things that happened all the time. And so when it just happened in this movie, I was like, all right, it's got to hit the same beats. So it was just that I think I was a bit tired of zombie movies because of how many I'd watched at this point. But still, like I said, I wish I could have put it higher. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. Number 18, just bring out the pitchforks and torches at this point because I got the original Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Down here at 18. Now, I like Night of the Living Dead. Just hear me out for a few seconds before you pull out the 9, okay? This movie is the most basic zombie movie you can possibly get. And that is because it is the first zombie movie. So I respect the hell out of this movie. It is the movie that created modern zombies. You wouldn't have Dawn of the Dead. You wouldn't have Return of the Living Dead. You wouldn't have Train to Busan. You wouldn't have The Walking Dead without Night of the Living Dead. So I respect the hell out of this movie. But I do have to admit, it is very basic because there wasn't any tropes. There wasn't a zombie genre before this. So it's kind of like how Iron Man is the most generic movie in the MCU. That's just because it was the first movie. So it literally had nothing to live up to, nothing to do original. It is the most original version. And like I said, I still like it, and I still think it is good, enjoyable, watchable zombie movie fun, but it is just the most basic version of that because it's the first one. So I have to admit the ones that are a bit more unique, a bit more action-packed, a bit more different are going to rank a bit higher for me. But I still have it up here at 18. I hope this is not too low for those people who are going to comment down below that this is way too low. I hope I was able to clear things up. So, yeah, it's at 18. Number 17 is probably the most just out of left field entry on this entire list. But like I said, I didn't make it. Number 17 is going to be Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. This is not a bad movie. It's actually a rather good movie. I enjoy Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. I think that Scooby-Doo is fun. With that being said, I prefer live action movies. I prefer movies that have more story and are not just like slapstick comedy. Now, I obviously enjoyed this movie, and I think it's probably the best Scooby-Doo movie we've ever gotten. Way better than whatever the hell Scoob was. I regret watching that. But it is going to be at number 17 because it's just not a movie I watch very often. Like, I'm not ever going to be in the mood to pick this movie up and watch it. If I'm feeling a bit nostalgic and I want to rewatch some Scooby-Doo movies, this will probably be the first one I reach for. But, like I said, I don't reach for animated movies that often. I just tend to gravitate more towards live action. I feel like the storytelling is usually a bit better there. But I'm not saying there isn't good animated films. There are very good animated films. But I'm just saying I gravitate towards more of those. It has the same formula of the Scooby-Doo movies, but also doesn't. Because you know how at the end of they're always like, oh, pull off the mask. Oh, the librarian. Or, oh, the janitor. Or whatever. In this one, that doesn't happen because, spoiler warning, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island has legit monsters. It has ghosts, zombies, I think werewolves even. So this movie's insane. It is fun as hell, but I just think it's the best Scooby-Doo experience you can get. But I just prefer live action films, prefer movies that are a little bit more substance over just comedy. So I do like comedies and I do like animated films, but just on this list of movies, this is where this one's going to land. Coming in at number 16, we have a new set because I actually, it took me a while, so we're at a different place now. But number 16 is going to be Overlord. Now, this was a super massive surprise because this was one of 2 movies on the list that I had never heard of. And so I expected that it would just be like a normal, passable zombie movie. And it kind of was, but I did really enjoy it. I think the characters are very good, and I think it is very unique in the zombie genre. I would have preferred if the villain was a bit more memorable, but otherwise the characters are pretty good. And it feels a lot like Dog Soldiers, and if you know me, you know I love werewolf movies, so I love Dog Soldiers, and a movie that feels like Dog Soldiers, I'm obviously gonna like. But at that point, I also do kind of get these 2 movies mixed up. They're kind of like a war twist on a classic genre. So, you know, you get werewolves, you get zombies in this one. It just kind of like, they get mixed up in my head sometimes. But that's not a fault of the movie. There was some super idiotic character decisions that really kept me from loving every one of the characters. I like most of them. They're all pretty good, likable dudes. But the stupid moments kind of held it back a little bit for me. Overall, very good zombie movie. Just wasn't able to get any higher on the list because it was just a little bit too okay. Coming in at number 15, we are officially more than halfway through this list. Starting off with our top 15, I'm going with The Crazies 2010. This is how you do a Crazies movie. This is a much more entertaining, much better version of The Crazies. I think it is better than the original by a landslide. This was, again, another huge surprise considering where I had the original ranked. I did not expect to like this movie as much as I did, but I watched it and it worked very well. I think the characters are extremely likable, and that is pulling most of the weight because this movie, I think, is a little bit too long. It kind of dragged on at the end where I was like, okay, we're still going. Why is it still going? So this one did kind of drag on for a little bit, but otherwise, I think the characters are very good. There was some very good heartbreaking emotional scenes. I think the quarantine stuff was very scary, especially, you know, like I said, watching it after COVID, it, you know, resonates with me a little bit more considering that this is what would have happened if COVID was a lot worse. And it, like I said, I think the main complaint is that it drags its feet for a lot of the movie because the scenes in between the action are just boring and drag on. And like I said at the ending, I was like, oh my God, get on with it. Like I was literally checking, all right, how much time we got left? Okay, 15 minutes still. All right, how much time we got left? Oh my God, it's only been a minute because it just drags its feet towards the end. So it had some scary moments. The characters are very likable, but otherwise a little bit slow to put anywhere higher. Number 14, remember what I said about the original Zombieland? Well, number 14 is Zombieland Double Tap. I don't know what it was about this movie. I literally went into this and I was like, all right, I'm not going to like it. Let's just try to have some fun with it. And I liked it, okay? I think the humor worked in this one. I genuinely laughed at a lot of the jokes. Woody Harrelson, I knew I liked that guy. He's one of the funniest parts in this movie. And the the Columbus and Tallahassee, like, doppelgangers, that was a very good, funny scene where it has Luke Wilson and I forget the other actor. And Madison is straight up the highlight of the movie.
Madison.
She is hilarious in every single scene. She's way over the top. She's up here at 11, and it is hilarious every single scene that she is in. So I really, really did like this movie. Hopefully this makes up for my low ranking of the original.
We do not care.
But I do like Zombieland Double Tap, but I think it's just because you get, the characters are a little bit better. It's way more funny. You get a little bit more action. You get some more sequences that I really like. I prefer the monster truck sequence. I just think this one does a lot more with the world of Zombieland. The original kind of felt a little bit more contained to a smaller part of it. But like I said, way funnier than the original, and I think that is the main reason I have it up higher than the original, especially this much higher, is that like I said, I don't find the original funny, but this one, for some reason, just absolutely clicked. I still don't find Jesse Eisenberg all that funny, but the rest of the movie is pretty hilarious. So here it is at number 14. Number 13 is going to be One Cut of the Dead, and I think this is controversial. I'm pretty sure that people have this movie a lot higher. But honestly, I wanted to put this movie a lot higher because this film is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is the most creative, unique movie I think I've ever watched. Like, this movie is about people making a movie about people making a movie. I'm sure that made absolutely no sense, but watch it if you want it to make sense, because the ride this movie takes you on, if you just go in expecting, like, the plot that it gives you where it's like, oh, people are attacked on the set of a zombie movie, then you will be so pleasantly surprised, because that is not at all what this movie is. Obviously, the first 30 minutes, that's what it is. But then it pulls the camera back a little bit more and you realize that the movie about people getting attacked on the set of a zombie movie is actually a film being recorded by the actual characters of this movie. And it does kind of lean really heavily into the comedy, so it wasn't as much of a horror movie as I was expecting. Honestly, I wouldn't consider it a horror movie at all. But it isn't a very good zombie movie because, like I said, it's about people making a movie about people making a movie. So there are no real zombies in this. There are no real kills. But still, like I said, a very enjoyable and unique experience. I think if I had the option to maybe move it up higher, I might, honestly. But it's too late to redo the list, so I am going to have it here at number 13. I do really enjoy it. Like I said, super creative, super unique. I highly recommend you watch this movie if you haven't seen it already. It is a foreign film, so you're going to have to watch it with subtitles on, but it is one of the most unique and creative experiences I have ever had with a movie, so highly recommend One Cut of the Dead. Number 12, sorry Brad Pitt stands, we have World War Z. Now, I think this is one of the most popular choices for favorite zombie movie as a non-horror fan. I personally don't think it's that great. I think much like The Crazies, the characters being super likable certainly helps this one out a lot. But it just kind of felt like a pretty basic zombie movie. You know, you can tell them every beat that's going to happen. You can tell when characters are going to die. There's some pretty good scenes in this. I do like Brad Pitt's character and his relationship with his wife and his kids. There are some amazing sequences, like the scene on the plane. And it just felt a little bit too familiar for me. Like I mean, obviously I have it up here at number 12. I like the movie, but it just felt like a little bit too familiar of a zombie movie, a little bit uncreative. There were some very good scenes, like I said. I think the scene where the zombies pile up on the wall, and like I already mentioned, the plane scene are very good as well. But I would have preferred if it was a little bit more unique, a little bit more creative maybe. This kind of feels like that era where they were just pumping out zombie movies because they could, and it was what was popular. But I do really, really like it. I think the characters are super likable. I'm going to keep repeating that because that's one of my main complaints for the movie. I just think I enjoy the ones above it a bit more, but it is certainly better than the ones below it. Just, like I said, a bit basic, but overall pretty good. Number 11, I usually, when I do these lists, I'm like, oh my god, my number 11, I wanted to put in my top 10. No, this movie's not a top 10 movie, but I did have a super fun time with Planet Terror. Now, this was another first-time watch for me, so I didn't know what to expect going into it. Oh my god, this movie is insane, and it is funny. You want me to convince you that this movie is great? I'll do it with 3 words. Machine gun leg. Need I say more? Rose McGowan's character in this with her badass machine gun leg, just ignore how completely impractical and impossible that is, and just have fun with it. It is a fun as hell movie. You ever wanted to see a movie where a girl who loses her leg gets a machine gun replaced for it and is gunning down zombies on the back of a motorcycle? That is the most badass sentence I think I've ever spoken. This movie, amazing. It is super, super fun. It's an awesome, gory schlock fest, and I just really, really love it. But I think the reason that I really feel strongly that it shouldn't be in the top 10 because there's one scene that I really, really don't like in it, and that's when the little kid accidentally and it's played for laughs. Ha, 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 ha. Get it? Because she said, don't aim it at yourself. Or you're gonna shoot yourself in the face. And then she leaves, and he shoots himself in the face. Get it? It's funny, right? Right? The kid shooting himself. It's funny. Now, I'm not usually one that's like, oh, that's in poor taste. But this movie is just so fun, and throwing in a kid accidentally just didn't really sit right with me. So besides that one scene, if you take out that one little scene, it might go up a full star. I really love this movie, and if you're looking for just a straight up good movie, you're not going to get it here. But if you're looking for a straight up awesome badass film, that's what you're going to get with this one. All right, welcome to day 3 of filming. We got our top 10 today. Starting off our top 10, I'm going with Wreck. And obviously, like I said with Quarantine, just watch Wreck. Because it's the original. Oh, I dropped it. Well, anyway, like I said with Quarantine, it's just the better version. I rewatched this movie more times than I've rewatched Quarantine because, like I said, in that segment, it's the original. So it's much better. It's much, much better because I don't know what's going to happen. When I first watched it, I didn't know every single beat, every single scary moment. I knew about one jump scare because it's very infamous. Otherwise, I didn't know it was going to happen. I was introduced to all these new characters. There's a wide variety of characters in this movie, and all of them are pretty good. I personally don't care for the main character as much, but that's all right. I prefer that the ending leaves it a little bit ambiguous. In Quarantine, I think she dies in the end, but in this one, it's kind of left ambiguous whether or not she lives or dies. There are some very, very good scares in here. Like I mentioned with Quarantine, the guy falling like 30 stories, terrifying. Otherwise, you got that iconic jump scare, which, so very good. Yeah, it's just a very good, very unique. It's a found footage movie, and it's one of the few found footage movies that is like supposed to be one unbroken take. Like once it starts, it's just like it's like 90 minutes of just unbroken footage of this outbreak, and I think it is very good. I think, as I said, very scary, very good. Yeah, I love it. Number 9. This is going to be another hot take because this one offends. I know it's going to offend people. It's going to offend people because I think Night of the Living Dead 1990 is better than the original, okay? I'm sorry. I like the original, like I said, with that movie, but I think this one's much better. Do you want to know why? I've said it with like 3 other movies on this list. I love characters, and the characters are so much better in this movie. It's mainly just because Barbara is insufferable in the original. I hate her so much. She is so annoying. But in this one, I love her because she's a badass, and she's just so good. I love her in this one. She's super likable, as is Tony Todd, who plays the other character. His, spoiler alert, death is very, it's very heartbreaking. And I like that Barbara survives in the end of this one. That's pretty good. And I really like that ending where she just puts a bullet through that guy's head.
You came back.
because, like, but otherwise, I think the gore is very, very good. That, like, fantastic in this one, and you're gonna get that when Tom Savini's directing it. Yes, Tom Savini directed the Night of the Living Dead remake. And like I said, Tony Todd, I forget his character's name, and Barbara are fantastic characters. I just think the characters had more screen time, more time to shine in this one. I really liked all of them, even the ones that don't make it very long. I love this movie, and I think it is better than the original, but again, not saying the original's bad. Number 8, I also think Dawn of the Dead is better than the original. Now, this is a good movie. I genuinely really, really like Dawn of the Dead 2004, and I think other people do too, so I don't think it should be controversial that it's this high. Maybe, I think the only thing that would be controversial is that I have it above the original. This is a very, very good movie. Again, like I've said with a lot of them, characters are huge in zombie movies, and you like the characters in this movie, except for the ones that you don't, and you want to see die, and you do. But there are some very heartbreaking scenes, because as you know, in a zombie movie, everybody dies. But I think actually a couple of people do survive this one. But so it's heartbreaking when you see all of them die. And I really, really like what they do with the setting in this movie. They keep the mall from the first movie, but that is just the first half. And the second half is an action-packed adventure zombie movie where they're going through different places, they're going through hordes, they're in a bus, they're in an apartment complex, they're going through a whole bunch of different things, and it just never lets up. From the second you leave the mall, it's just scene after death after amazing scenes. So I really, really like that, because it combines the slow, kind of more drawn-out original, which is one of the reasons I really don't like the original as much, because it's so slow. But they combine that, and you get that for the first half, and then the second half, you just get to go insane with the zombies and just make an incredible movie. So I really do like Dawn of the Dead 2004. There is one single moment that just really rubs me the wrong way, and that's the scene with the pregnant woman and the baby. Yeah, that could just be me. It's just my tolerance level. I don't know why that one just rubbed me the wrong way, but yeah, I think it improves upon nearly everything that the original did. So yeah, I think it's just better in every way. Number 7, this is going to piss some people off as well, because my favorite of the original George Romero zombie trilogy is Day of the Dead. Now, this is usually considered the worst of the Day of the Dead, or of the original Romero trilogy. So, I had seen Night of the Living Dead, and I had seen Dawn of the Dead, and I was very underwhelmed with both of them, and Day of the Dead was supposed to be the bad one. So I came into this, and I was like, okay, alright, it's going to be the worst one, so let's just put it on, see what happens. It's the best one. It's the best one. I'm sorry. It's the best one. It does the most unique stuff in it. The tone is a bit off. It's very comedy and very just doesn't take anything seriously. And I like that. I like that it does this in this one, where it picks a tone and it sticks with it. It's comedy. It's slapstick. I really like that in this one. Captain Rhodes, he's one of the main reasons people hate this movie. I think he really works for it, and his death is amazing, like one of the best kills ever. I also really like Bub the zombie. It's Bub. It could be Bob. No, it's Bub. I think it's Bub. But Bub the zombie, where it's literally this scientist is training zombies to try and make them a functioning human again. That's something that we don't really see in very many zombie movies. Like, once they're a zombie, they are just, a mindless, dumb creature. But we've never really seen someone try to train a zombie and get them back to who they were. And when you start to see Bub finally kind of start to do things and eventually ends up wielding a gun. So yes, we get a zombie who shoots somebody in this movie. Like I said, it's full-on comedy. I understand that, but I really do like it. And it has some fantastic practical effects. The zombies still look a little bit blue, but they're a bit better in this one. It also has some very good characters and very good heartfelt scenes. So this is my favorite of the original Romero trilogy. Bite me. I believe this is day 4 of filming at this point. I don't even know. But we're on to number 6. We're one away from our top 5. And I'm going to go with Reanimator. Now, if you look at this film on a physical standpoint, It's not a very good film, but it's one of those 80s horror movies that I just absolutely love. It is so much fun. Like, when I think of 80s horror, I think of these types of movies. I think of Reanimator. I think of Basket Case. I think of Frankenhooker. Just those insane horror movies that are so fun, so bad that they're good. And this is one of them. I mean, you get some outstanding, incredible practical effects. You get a very, very good horror villain in Herbert West.
Herbert West.
Like, it's so fun. And Jeffrey Combs is so good as Herbert West. I know I already said Herbert West is a huge compliment for this movie, but Jeffrey Combs puts in such a good performance in this. He has so much charm and charisma as the leading villain that you honestly just want to see more of him. You never really hate him like you do most villains. It's like a love-hate relationship. You love to hate him. And I love Herbert West. I think he's a very good horror villain, and like I said, Jeffrey Combs is a huge part of that. I didn't care for the main guy as much, Dan. I didn't love him, but then you get Barbara Crampton, who is fantastic, and the only other complaint I have besides Dan being pretty basic is that Barbara Crampton's character does die in the end. It just felt kind of very out of place. I like the ending where she gets reanimated, but her death feels so weird and just kind of anticlimactic. So very fun, very, very good movie. Just one scene and a little bit better character, and it could have made the top 5. Number 5 is my highest ranked foreign film, and this is Train to Busan. Now, I had heard of Train to Busan. I'd heard it was one of the best modern zombie movies, and I was shocked by how much I loved it. Because usually I hear that and I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical when people say, oh, it's the new modern classic. Because usually I end up being pretty underwhelmed by it. Train to Busan was very good. It has those zombies that I really like from like 28 Days Later where they're actually running at you, so they're actually intimidating. And so I really like the zombies in here. I think it is actually just more scary than like the walking hands outstretched zombies. So I like it. But like I'm sure most of you guessed, because I've already said it with like 20 other movies, characters are a huge part of movies for me. Like, they are one of the biggest parts. Like, if it has good characters, if you invest me in the characters, I'm gonna like the movie a little bit more. And these are super likable characters, except for the main guy. But otherwise, everybody you love, except actually the main guy and then that one guy who's trying to kill everybody. Otherwise, you like everybody. And those two characters, the main character is so tragic and such a good, well-written character. And then that guy you hate. It's just that guy in the zombie apocalypse that you get in all the cliche movies where he just goes crazy with power. He just starts, trying to make decisions on whether people live or not. But that didn't bother me. You get him in like every zombie movie, so it's fine. But, like, you actually feel bad when all these characters die. Even the characters that don't have as much screen time, you still feel bad because of the acting and how well these characters are written and made. And so when you see these zombies slowly tearing through this train and just killing more characters that we know, it's heartbreaking every single time. And you think, oh, maybe this is going to be the final group. Or, oh, maybe this guy is going to survive. And then it ends up where, much like a lot of zombie movies, 2 people survive. So I really like Train to Busan. I think it is one of the best modern zombie movies. Number 4. This was a movie I had never seen before, and this was the biggest shock on the list by a landslide. I knew going into it 3 of my top 5, okay? I knew going into it 3 of my top 5 were locked in. If you would have told me that Brain Dead, or Dead Alive, whatever you like to call it, would have made my top 5, I would have said you were an insane person. Because I had seen screen grabs from this movie, I'd seen little clips, I'd seen bits and pieces of it, I'd heard stuff about it. But I figured it was going to be one of those, like, it's a fun, insane 80s movie, you have fun with it, and then you forget about it in an hour. This movie, I'm not even joking with you, rivals The Thing for best practical effects in a horror movie. Like, this is a display of practical effect after practical effect after practical effect after amazing practical effect. It is by the guy who made Lord of the Rings, and it is phenomenal. It is a horror comedy that is batshit insane. There is so many different concepts in this that would never work in anything, but the fact that they're all crammed into this short hour-and-a-half movie just makes it so much better. The first half of this movie is about this guy keeping track of his zombies. He has, like, his mom as a zombie, and then she bites someone else, and then now he's got 2 zombies, and then they bite someone else, and now he's got 3 zombies, and he's trying to keep track of them and feed them. And that's hilarious enough on its own. But then you get into all these other insane characters. You get the love interest who is crazy. You get the kung fu priest.
I kick ass for the Lord.
He is a priest who fights the zombies using kung fu. It's just, this movie is so amazing. Like, it is so amazingly unhinged and insane, and the practical effects are some of the best I've ever seen. Like, this might honestly have the best practical effects in any horror movie. And he uses a lawnmower as a weapon to chop up zombies at the end? Hell yeah. But there is one complaint. Just one complaint that I have for Dead Alive. It's the giant mom monster at the end. I have just kind of got tired of seeing, like, these giant saggy-breasted women monsters in horror movies. You know, you got Mama, you got It Chapter 2, you got, like, every other modern movie. So I have seen this numerous times, and when it came up at the end, I was like, oh my god. I know it's from the 80s, but still, I'm so tired of this. And it just, that is the only little sliver of this movie where I was like, that's too weird. Yeah, you crossed a line there. They crosses a line multiple times, but usually I'm like, hell yeah. And this was the only time where I was like, Number 3. This was the biggest surprise out of any of the movies on this list. And it hurts me that I have to put it at number 3. It, like, physically hurts. I want to put this movie at number 1 because I love it so much. But it has... I still am considering moving it up. Number 3 is going to be Return of the Living Dead 3. If you would have told me that I was going to watch the original, love it, watch the second one, hate it, and then the third one is completely unrelated to the other two, and I was going to think that it matches the quality of the original, I would have slapped you. Because Return of the Living Dead 3 has everything I love about a zombie movie. Everything I love about insane 80s horror movies. This brings back the feel of that original Return of the Living Dead, that dangerous, punk rock, sexy feel that you get from that first movie. And it ramps it up. Actually, I don't know if it ramps it up, but it ramps up some of the parts of it. And it's just insane because this is a movie that is Return of the Living Dead 3, and it is unlike any zombie movie I have seen. It is about one woman turning into a zombie, and her boyfriend is trying to save her and keep her alive, and I was sitting there the whole time invested in these characters, because like I said, with numerous other movies, characters are such a huge part of movies for me, and I fell in love with these two characters. I love them. Their on-screen chemistry is so good. I love her and really feel for her. Like, she's an actually, like, incredible actress. Like, you genuinely feel bad for this woman in almost every scene where she, like, breaks down crying because she realizes that she's dead and turning into a zombie. And it's just so good and so heartbreaking. And then you get that scene where she finally goes full badass. She's got the chains all over her. She's got the piercings. She's got the spikes. And that is just, I love that. And then this was going to be one of the things that I honestly was so worried about the entire movie. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be one of those movies that has that super depressing ending where they try everything and then they still end up failing and she dies anyway. Kind of.
but I think they salvage it. Whatever. I like movies with happy endings. Okay, I do. I prefer it when the characters I'm invested in get to see their payoff. And in this one, I was like, oh no, it's going to be the one where you see this character that you love end up dying at the end because they couldn't do anything about it in the first place. And I was like, oh yeah, that would kill it. That would drop it a couple stars for me. And she does die. But he goes with her. And I feel like with romance movies, and especially with a romance zombie movie, that's how you end it. Because it's always, for me, it's like this person lost his girlfriend. But they both die in this one. So it just worked. It just worked for me. And there is one complaint. Again, I'll give you one complaint. Because I wasn't 100% on this movie. I still gave it 4.5 stars. There was things I didn't like about it. The ending feels very tacked on. Like, after they get out of, like, that sewer place, after she just kills everybody, and they go back to the lab, it feels very tacked on. Like, it just feels very out of place. But then, obviously, like I said, you get that incredible ending. So this hurt me that I couldn't put it higher on this list, because I love Return of the Living Dead 3. It's still at number 3, but I wish it could be higher. Now we have number 2. And I went back and forth with these last two up until literally when I wrote this script. Like, I literally had it a different order, and I changed it once I started writing it. I had to make a choice, so my number 2 is 28 Days Later. This was one of the movies that everybody had gushed about for years, and I was like, God, it just looks like it's going to be one of those movies that I watch, and I'm like, it's all right. No. It's amazing. And it's amazing. It is fantastic. It has, like, a Walking Dead vibe, which is my favorite TV show of all time, if you don't know. And it has some amazing performances, some genuinely terrifying scenes, some genuinely heartbreaking scenes, and like I said, you get the runner zombies. They're much more scary. And then it also has, I think, the best zombie transformation scene of all time. Spoiler alert, when Brendan Gleeson gets that blood droplet in his eye, and you just see that moment of like, oh shit, he sells it so well. This scene, I'd say this scene is probably my favorite part of the entire movie. Like, his performance in this moment and how his first thought is, get my daughter away, get my daughter away. I love this moment because you really get a sense of who this character is, and it's just that look he gives when it hits his eye, and he just goes, he knows there's nothing he can do. So, highlight scene for me. Then you did the main romance, which I didn't expect to like. I was like, oh, they don't really seem like they have that much chemistry. Then they sell it by the end. By the end, you're like, yeah, okay, glad they're in love, and it really it works. Everything about this movie works. It is a fantastic zombie movie. It just sucks that I wasn't a fan of the sequels because this is amazing, and you get to see Cillian Murphy's dick. And finally, after going through 30 zombie movies, we have reached my number 1. My favorite zombie movie of all time. And I'm sure using process of elimination, you can figure out what it is. It's Return of the Living Dead. If you heard the way I talked about it when I talked about the second and third movie, this should come as no surprise. I love this movie. It is my favorite zombie movie of all time. Like, there are other zombie movies that aren't even on this list that I ranked. This is number 1. This is number 1. It's the quintessential punk rock 80s movie. Like I said with the first two, you get that sexy vibe. You get that, like, rock punk vibe. You just get all of this insanity jumbled up and thrown together, and it works. You get these punk rockers that are like, you know, going through cemeteries and stuff, and Linnea Quigley, who has a very good scene for multiple reasons.
Get some light over here. Ash is taking off her clothes again.
And then you get Tommy Jarvis and this older guy and a couple other of his friends, the older guy's friend. And you don't expect these stories to really mesh very well, but by the time they come together, you love it. You love seeing these just two groups of insane characters come together, and it's so good. And I just love the combination of horror and humor that we get. And this movie is actually, you know how usually like cliche zombies are like, you always imagine them saying brains? This is where it came from. This is where it came from, because this is such a creative and unique and hilarious concept for zombie movies. Because these zombies, they are eating, that gives you an explanation for why they eat brains. Because they are in constant pain. They are literally in physical pain if they are not eating brains. So in order to soothe that pain, they have to be eating brains. And that is so good. And that scene where they have that zombie tied up and they're interrogating it is hilarious, but also tragic, because you're thinking about all these zombies and they can speak. They still have a conscience, kind of, but they just want to eat brains because it quenches their pain. And it's just so good. I love it so much. It just, wow. That finally concludes my 31 movie zombie ranking. I ranked 31 zombie movies all today and the last 3 days I recorded. I know this list is probably going to offend you, and you probably disagree with the vast majority of it, but that's what you get when we're talking about 31 movies. And like I said at number 30, I enjoy almost every movie on this list. Besides my bottom two, I get some entertainment, some enjoyment from all of these. So if your favorite was ranked at 15, don't take that as an insult. I love all of the movies on this list because I love horror as a whole. I'm glad all of these movies exist, and I had so much fun doing this video. I had so much fun writing the script and watching all of these movies for the first time. So I love this subgenre, this group of films. So yeah, truly amazing. But that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe so anyone want to see more videos like it in the future. Comment down below some more video ideas for me or your thoughts on my 31. I'm sure it's vastly differently from yours. And like I said in the opening, check out those other YouTubers who are doing this and created this concept. Again, just want to point this out. Not my concept. I'm just talking about the movies because I wanted to. Now, have a happy Halloween. Have a safe Halloween, and I'll see you guys in November.